Welcome to Aligned Energy with me, Manon, a place where ancient wisdom meets modern health and wellness. People are waking up, questioning who they are and why they're here. For high-performing women, the climb to success can leave them feeling stuck, depleted, or disconnected. But what if the answer isn't in doing more, but in aligning with your true essence? I'm Manon de Veritch, and together with Dr. Pat, this show is about coming home to yourself unapologetically. Through education, ancient wisdom, and modern science, we explore energy as the foundation of healing and transformation. Join us now on Aligned Energy and step into the life you were meant to live. Aligned Energy starts now.
Dr. Pat, what a great show we've got for you today. I take this journey with Manon, but here's what I want to say. When we step out into the world, and this is a lesson that I'm learning myself, when do we actually think about ourselves? So let's move beyond thinking. When do we actually do something for ourselves? And what happens when you don't either know what to do or how to do it? How do you tap in to that incredible opening, which allows you to feel amazing things? Today's show is awakening your creative energy, the life force, the Kundalini, the erotic blueprints. It's about stepping outside the boundary of what holds you back from fully expressing. And you all know what I mean. I mean, I don't have to just give you the holding back blueprint, but today Manon is going to walk you through this. When we hold back, when we shut off, when we turn that faucet off for the flow of life, that does not feel good. Manon, great show today. Let's get at it.
Yes, thank you. This is a topic that's at the very heart of my work as an energy alchemist, awakening creative energy, because that means so much more than any of us have really thought through. It's not just about inspiration or motivation. It's the vital life force that's moving through us that allows us to create, to lead, to express ourselves fully, and really makes us feel alive. That's that word, feeling alive, and aliveness, you'll probably hear a lot from me. So we're going to be talking about how this energy connects to your life force, your Kundalini, and even your sexual energy, and why so many women are feeling cut off from it. So I'll also share how understanding your erotic blueprint can give you a personal map for unlocking this energy in a way that's authentic to you.
Yeah.
So
It's a great topic because I don't know what, I mean, all my relatives, like in Europe, those peeps over there, and then all of my South American relatives, now that I found out, family secret, now that I found out that I'm a quarter Brazilian, all of these things that happen to us, they have us explore different versions of life, but they joke with me about our culture here. And, they do it in like 5 different languages, and half of the time I don't even know what they're saying. But what the joke is, wow, you people, how'd you get so uptight? And I thought about their comment to me, and I thought, well, wait a minute. Is it that we're uptight, or is it that we haven't learned how to fully express? What do you think?
well, we definitely have a lot of conditioning and programming in America that is not happening in other countries. And anywhere from the more primal countries, right, where they're just not worried about what they're wearing or covering themselves up, or any of the body shaming things that we have now. But certainly our media is driving certain behaviors in our culture, is driving certain behaviors that are frankly taking us out of owning our energy, our uh, our sovereignty, frankly. And some could say that's on purpose or by design, but I think just the awareness and the willingness to start peeling back the layers and looking
Yeah.
into it is where we're really going today.
Let's dive into this. Let's get into this creative energy from where you sit. Let's take a sneak peek. Welcome people back that have listened before, but let's just take a look at why this topic is so important and why for you this is a body of work that you do, that you help people with, right? This idea of creative energy, which is basically what your show's about, this ancient wisdom. So walk us through this, this creative energy as a life force, as
Mhm.
creative juice, let's just call it. Walk us through this.
Okay. So it helps to start with defining life force energy as, this universal energy that's running through us. So there's relationships between Kundalini and sexual energy and life force, but to just start off with a definition of universal vital energy that sustains life and consciousness. It's essentially what's animating every living thing, plants, animals, humans. So you've often heard it referred to as chi in Chinese or ki in Japanese or prana in Hindu philosophy or vital energy in other traditions. But it's fundamentally the energy that animates all living beings. So it flows through us, it sustains every aspect of our life from physical vitality to mental and emotional well-being. So when it's flowing and you're feeling it flowing, you have this sense of vitality and joy and aliveness and connection with all living things. And when it gets blocked or stifled, that's when you're feeling more fatigue or numbness, disconnection, stuck. So you can think of it as, a river of energy that's running through you. Also, since I've referred to us as our electric bodies in health, you can think of it as a current or, I'm sorry, like an electrical current that's running through us as well. So do you want me to just jump right into?
Yeah, I want to jump right in because one of the things that I want to keep reminding people, we know this feeling. We know it. And I love the whole electrical energy thing because look, I don't know. Some people listen to music and they just feel it intensely inside, right? I happen to, okay, don't laugh. I happen to really love opera. And people look at me every time I say that, they're like, you? Are you kidding me? Yeah. I don't know why that is, but I don't understand all the languages. There's something emotional about it. I feel it. And yet we understand when we touch it a little bit in our own lives, but we just don't carry it forward. That's what you're going to help us with today, right?
Hmm. Absolutely. So let's talk about Kundalini energy. That's something that a lot of people have heard of, but maybe they don't really know what it means. And it's something that I really was trying to figure out where life force begins and Kundalini begins and or one ends and the other begins. And the best explanation that I found is that Kundalini energy is a concentrated, transformative aspect or a potent channel of life force energy. So thinking of it as an aspect within yogic and tantric traditions, that's where Kundalini comes from. So you've probably heard of Kundalini yoga. It's seen as a coiled, dormant energy in the base of the root chakra. So it's like a serpent, is the imagery of it. And the awakening of Kundalini energy represents a process of spiritual awakening. So this dormant energy is rising up the spinal column, activating each chakra all the way up. So there's a difference between an activation and an awakening, though, that I would just want to point out. So an activation of Kundalini is a temporary energetic experience where your life force is stimulated or awakened for a period of time. And the Kundalini awakening is a lasting shift. So that's once you really hit the pineal gland and you're out through the crown chakra, and it's not subtle at all. You will know if you have that. It's a full rising of that energy and it permanently transforms your consciousness and the way that you're showing up and seeing life. A lot of these people just feel like they're starting to get downloads. They're starting to be very much disconnected, from the life and the matrix, so to speak. Yeah. So, and I would also say that one of the healing modalities that I've really come to love and specialize in is called spinal flow technique. And what I realized during my training for that is um, it's an energy healing modality that's essentially clearing blockages along the spinal column, spinal blocks, and it's creating conditions for your natural life force, which we refer to as your innate wisdom, to move, so that essentially your body is healing itself by increasing more of this energy, cerebral spinal fluid, innate wisdom, chi, whatever you want to call it, that's running up and down the spine, and your brain is working with your own body to heal itself. But for some people, when they're activating this life force energy, it feels like a Kundalini activation because you start feeling tingly, you feel waves, maybe you feel heat. You definitely feel these subtle currents coming through your body. I had a client tell me at the end that it felt like an erotic experience
Ah,
at the end. So it's they're all everything is interconnected, right? So
yes.
it can be very subtle or it can be very intense. Everybody's different.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about, most people out there, but I was talking to a friend of mine about life experiences, some of the things that they do, and they were describing how they do things by themselves. But then they started to talk about how they're experienced by doing something they love with someone else. And it was interesting to listen to them because they didn't have the words that you have to describe this, but they were basically saying that. They were basically talking about this accelerated or way to really experience life differently. And
Mhm.
isn't that part of what we're talking about? I mean, earlier in the show, I referred to it as a full expression.
Yes,
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because I'm a work in progress. I don't want anybody to get the impression that I got the handle on this. I don't, but I'm a work in progress.
Mhm.
I've had moments of it in my life. However, I am a work in progress because I want more. And I think that's what you're helping people with. Step in, take one step. You're having live events. You're doing so many different things to help people understand what they're really capable of, right?
Yeah. My passion is to work with people to access this life force energy and feel it and have an experience of it so that you can actually call it back. You know, once you've felt it before, you're just going to want more of it. You're going to realize when you don't have it and you're going to be able to call it back. But my favorite thing in the world is having somebody working with somebody to access their own energy and to recognize the power of it and the sensation of it, and their eyes just open and they're like, what was that? That was incredible. You know, some people will feel like they're super light and floaty or tingly, and some people just feel blissed out, you know, and it's amazing what we have the power to tap into, but we've never been taught. We've never been given a platform or any kind of education around using using this vessel that we
Yeah,
have to connect to
yeah.
our consciousness.
Well, let's talk about this idea. I had an enormous opportunity when I went back to school and I actually think by studying with this gentleman, it helped shape my future, my life, and even the formation of the network. And I got to study with Mahali, and he was the originator or from an empirical research level, a research level of the concept of flow. Now, we've seen and heard about flow everywhere, but this particular professor down at Claremont, he studied this and he proved, like so many academic institutions want you to prove it was Manon a thing, right? But that life force energy, we're talking about flowing, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why they call it spinal flow. Your
Yeah.
energy is flowing up and down your spine. It's a fact, you know.
Yeah.
It isn't even esoteric. It's just It's
Right.
actual.
It's
Yeah.
actually not even woo-woo. So I just want to be really clear because I get 10 emails a day almost on this topic. And what I want to say is this is a life experience. We have been given unprecedented ability to experience every minute of every day.
Mhm.
But part of this we do cut off. Let's just talk a little bit more, if we could, about Kundalini energy. You touched upon it, and yes, I am familiar with it. Right now I'm studying certain traditions, certain Hindu traditions. But there's this idea, if we don't talk about the chakras a little bit, I
Mhm.
think we'll just be leaving a big part out. Can you
Okay.
talk about the relationship of this energy and the chakra system?
Well, like I was alluding to, as it rises up through your chakras, it's activating and aligning everything and opening everything up and connecting it. So we have mentioned in previous episodes, I'll just briefly recapture though, that you have seven primary chakras that people talk about. You really have more than that, but uh, when we're talking about this energy starting in the root chakra, that is your chakra that's responsible for your safety and security, um, your connection to the earth, and then and your feeling of safety, right? Then your second chakra is your sacral chakra. This is the one that governs all of your reproductive organs and any organs in that lower belly space. It's related to a lot of emotions and passion, your passionate relationships, your sensuality, your creativity, waking up your creativity, right? Because it's your womb space. Whether you're a man or a woman, this is considered where you birth new ideas and bring them into the world, whether it's a child or whether it's a business idea. The next one is your solar plexus, your third chakra, and this is your power center, your center for empowerment. This is your truth, your uh, your will and your drive and your standing in this life, how you see yourself, your identity. And and then your heart chakra is your fourth. This relates to love and compassion, self-love, self-compassion, and just open-heartedness in general. Our heart is extremely powerful. It's actually being proven to be more insightful and powerful than your brain. So there's more and more research coming out about that. That's sidebar. Your throat is your fifth chakra. This is your chakra for communication, expressing all of your lower chakras, and it's your most narrow channel of each of your chakras too. So it has to do with being able to express yourself, speak your truth, have those words that you speak be heard, because communication is not just speaking, it's being understood, both of those components. So if your chakra is out of balance, maybe you're holding something back that you really feel like you need to say, or maybe you're saying something that is not being heard. It's also believed to have a lot to do with the fact that why women have so many thyroid problems, because most women have been taught to be seen versus heard or to silence themselves, whether outright or just through inherited generational DNA. And then your sixth chakra is it's really your pineal gland. This is the center of your head, your third eye. And this is related to your connection with your higher self. So it's your intuition, your divine wisdom is coming in through this. It's known as related to clear vision and seeing the path ahead and knowing what steps to take and knowing the right step to take. And then your crown chakra is your seventh chakra. This has to do with elevated thinking, connection with divine spirit, Mother, Father, God, Creator, um, the Great One.
The whole ball of
Any,
wax, the whole
whatever word,
enchilada, the whole
whatever
thing.
you choose to refer to it as, this is your connection up into the cosmos. So your roots down into the earth, your crowns up into the cosmos, and you are this spirit in a body having a human experience as an expression, as you say, Pat.
Yeah. What I want to do is let's take a short break because when we come back, we're going to be talking about something. I want to talk, Manon's going to walk us through, let me just say the word erotic. When you hear that word, what is instilled in you, right? Do you know what the actual definition of that is? Is that something you can even say? What if I said to all of you, can you do this? I want to, I want to feel the full expression of an erotic experience. Can you say that? Can you imagine it? How are you feeling about that right now? When we come back, we are going to rip that onion peel right off. And Manon's going to walk us through with the beauty, the precious nature of something all of us have been given, something that we've been given to experience. And so the invitation really is, are you ready? Even if it's a little slither of that onion that you pull back, are you ready to have a new experience? Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Manon, before we go,
Yes.
what's the best way to find out about you?
Everything is at alignedenergyhealing.com. I have my healing, my coaching, my events, um, anything you want to know.
And then lastly, what's the most erotic piece of art you've ever seen? I know you don't want to admit it, right? Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Just in case you're just tuning in now, you are listening to and watching Aligned Energy with Manon. That's Manon. On the other side of the screen you're watching, I'm Dr. Pat. I get to take this journey. Today we're talking about awakening your creative energy, life force, Kundalini, and the erotic blueprints. And one of the things, let's just kick it off here, first of all, by you letting folks know, in the greater Seattle area, if you don't live here, you're going to be having a series of events. Tell people about them and how they can find out more. Let's start off
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, September is a huge month for me. I have my very first ever stage-led erotic blueprint immersive at the Little Red Day Spa on September 27th. So we'll have links to that in the show notes, but that's going to be a fantastic opportunity once you start learning about the erotic blueprints in the coming minutes to just dive right into determining what yours is, how to speak and move to the blueprints, how to feed yourself, and just bring more awareness to you as an erotic creature and how to interact with your partner. And then the week before that, which I guess is next week, I have a Determining Your Erotic Blueprint workshop, which is something I do throughout the year in Gig Harbor at my place of business, A Touch of Marikey. And so you can come just for 90 minutes and get a very much more condensed version of that, where we will do the what and the whys about the blueprints and then dive into a little bit of body mapping, which is everybody really loves. It's very PG. It's a great place to start in an intimate circle. And then lastly, I'm going to be exhibiting at Midlife Medicine on the 20th, which is at Seattle Pacific University. And I invite all of you women out there, no matter how old you are, to show up and just find all of these different solutions and offerings that are available to people that are midlife and are looking for solutions to whatever is,
Yeah.
causing them to be out of alignment, helping them
Yeah.
optimize their wellness.
I'm so glad you brought that up because it's really we're in this neutral zone in terms of how do I want to put it? In terms of the age gap. Let me just call it that. So what do I mean by that? The age gap is when I talk about it in public, I talk about the fact that there are some people, and I'm one of them, that I still think I'm like 20. So just saying, that's like my brain. I'm still like, I don't even understand birth dates anymore. And then there are some people in that space that already project themselves to be, may I say it, too old for this, too old for that. So what you're doing is helping people, right, align with that inner sense. And sometimes it's longing. But the blueprint itself and some of the things you're doing and the way you're doing them, I like that you said PG, right? Did you say that PG? Did you say
Mhm.
that?
Yep.
Yeah. Because it's Education with a twist, isn't it?
Yeah, and people have a tendency to assume that it's going to be graphic or they need a partner or it's intimidating. And I'm just opening up the conversation for people to learn about themselves and reflect on things that have happened in the past, maybe that are going on now, challenges, and start to just have conversations in a very safe
Mm,
place, or they can just listen. They don't need to participate. But what I find is that the lights just start going on for people, and they're like, oh, that makes so much sense now. Oh, okay. Like that wasn't me. There was just this disconnect. And if I had these tools, that could have helped that relationship, or it could have made better decisions quicker, just had opened up the conversation. Really, this is, it's what I call, it's officially called sex and intimacy coaching, but really it's intimacy and communication.
yeah. Thank you for that. All
Mhm.
right, let's get down into it, right?
Okay.
Y'all out there, did you do what I asked you to do? Were you able to like say the word erotic for a minute? Come on now. I know you all can do it. And the reason I bring that up is because you can go look up erotic on your own. First of all, it doesn't have to be about what we're about to talk about. It could be something that really arouses that sexual feeling or desire, right? Sometimes it's about sexual love, but other times it's about other stimulation. And we're not going to talk about it in this show, but a lot of times people that play musical instruments find themselves, in this zone, in this place of flow. But today we're going to talk about the blueprint, aren't we?
Hmm. Okay, let's dive in.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so the erotic blueprints are a framework that were created by renowned somatic sexologist Jaya. She has been all over evangelizing this work for almost 30 years. And this came to be through her work with couples and individuals that were having trouble either connecting with each other, pleasuring each other, and what she came to find was that similar to the five love languages, there are five different blueprint types where we are just wired to receive pleasure. So, just like with the love languages, you wouldn't expect that just because you love to give or receive gifts, that the other person wants gifts, right? So, you're gifting them, but really they're a service person. You can also see it as each one of these blueprints is a different love language. So if somebody is speaking English and somebody is speaking French, there's not there's going to be a disconnect. So this is a way to just educate yourself more on the truth of who you are so that you can connect to your authentic self, feed yourself because we need that feeding and nourishment as humans for our overall sexual wellness and holistic wellness, but also to help connect with our partners and have this connection and intimacy, right? This work has saved so many marriages, as you can probably imagine, where one person is trying to come at it the same way and the other person is like, ugh, that's not like doing it for me. And then you just feel rejected and turned away, and then it just goes downhill from there. So let's dive into it. So, oh, I also just want to make a quick point that was mentioned to me recently. There's a reason why these were not called the sexual blueprints, and that is to Pat's point that eroticism is everywhere, right? It's not just in what we think of as sex or sexuality. It can be a breeze, it can be enjoying nature, it can just be a soft touch, it can be looking at a female form, it can be eating something delicious or decadent. It's anything that's just really evoking that sensation of, again, pleasure and aliveness and bliss that really lights you up. So keep that framing in mind as we go through this. Okay, so the five types. Let's start with energetic. Energetic blueprint types are all about space, anticipation, tease. They feel more with less. They are turned on by the buildup of the kiss or being in connection with somebody. They really love hovering, where you're just hovering in their energetic field over their physical form. They're very hypersensitive to their energy, so much so that they can feel you coming before you approach. A lot of empaths, I feel like, are energetic types, or just a light touch. So the energetics are more orgasmic, or they're actually the most, I think they're the most orgasmic types of people, but a lot of times they're inclined to feel like something's wrong with them or they're broken because people have always come at them too fast and they end up short circuiting. So they can feel like something may be wrong with them, or that they're not sexual, but it's just that nobody knows how to play their instrument, you know?
Yeah, I do know. I mean, and part of this too is as you were speaking about it, I was reflecting on my first childhood love. Let's just call it that. I don't know what people call it. But I remember exactly what you're talking about. And it was the most interesting thing is you're walking down the street and you're just hanging out, and I'm young, I don't know, 13 maybe, right?
Hmm.
And there's this moment when your hand brushes the other person's hand, right? But there's always that anticipation
Yeah.
of, I wish that would happen. I wish that, right? There's always that, right? But then it does happen. And then there are no words for it. And so this is how we each get to understand what as now. Honestly, if you do that and the other person jerks away like crazy town, okay, so there's some things to understand about the dynamic. It's like you said, what works for me maybe doesn't work for you. But the blueprint then walks us through how to become aligned, doesn't it?
It does. And I find that the energetic, like there just has never been the word out there for energetics, right? So
Yeah.
we might understand what some of these other blueprints are more intuitively, but I find that once the energetics find out that they're, and by the way, most women are, according to all of the erotic blueprint quizzes, there have been almost 3 million of them. They've pulled together and analyzed the data, and more women are energetic than anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, I
Okay.
totally get it. All right, walk us through the rest. I'm curious to see where you're all going to place yourself as we go through this.
Yes, definitely be putting yourself into this mindset and see which of these are resonating with
Well,
you.
you saw where I went, didn't you? All
Okay.
right.
So, the second blueprint is the sensual. So, the sensual is everything having to do with the senses. They are, they are all about the environment. They want closeness, whereas the energetics want more space. The sensuals want closeness. They want to dance. They want massage and contact. They are aroused by the ambiance and the environment of the room. So they're more inclined to want the candlelight and the music to be just right. And they have more romantic notions and stories, about the lovemaking and intimacy. And um, so they create the ambiance for romance, I would say. They'll dress up, so each of these has superpowers and shadows. I kind of blew through that with the energetic without calling it out for what it is. The sensuals, their superpower is that they're so turned on by the smells and the touches and the tastes, and eating a chocolate covered strawberry, or listening to a beautiful piece of music, or the warm fuzzy blanket that's under them. A lot of sensuals, you'll, by the way, notice they're the ones that are touching soft textures, playing with their hair, saying when they're eating. You can start to spot them. The shadow, though, is that they have a tendency to get caught up in their head. So they get easily distracted. So if somebody has bad breath, if there's like socks on the floor, if things are out of place, um, we say that they have to be relaxed to want to be in the mood for sex, which is the opposite of the sexual, which is the third blueprint. Sexuals are just very direct. They are orgasmic. It's very clear arousal. It's what we think of as sex. So they they bring a lightness and an ease to sexuality because it's just so simplistic, you know? It's all about nakedness, genitals, intercourse, orgasms. They don't understand what any of the other fuss is about, why anybody would be interested in any of it. It gets very frustrating to them that anybody would want anything but that. It's actually uh, they need to have sex to relax a lot of times. So, um, yeah, okay. So, moving on. The fourth one is kinky. Kinky is anything that is taboo for you. So, if you think about that, if you grew up in a very religious household or maybe in another culture, um, having sex and other than a missionary position could be taboo. Whereas that's pretty mild by most people's standards, right? It could be psychological kinky play, it could be physical kinky play, it could be BDSM that people see. But the bottom line is it's anything that makes that you feel like, oh, this is naughty. I don't think I should like this is, yeah. What if
Yeah,
I'm caught or I'm not
yeah,
supposed to be doing this? If you are aroused by that, that's the kinky blueprint.
yeah.
So,
What's interesting about the kinky blueprint is the doors got blown off completely and open up the door for kinky over 40 with the books, with the 50 shades. It just blew the doors. Right, right. I mean, think about it. Think of the population of people that read that book and then the movies, and I don't care what you want to say, but there was something about that approach that brought something out in people. And most of the people were middle-aged women, right? I mean, at least that's what the information said.
yeah. Yeah. I remember reading that book and I was not an avid reader. And I just remember looking at the clock and I'm like, how is it 3 a.m.? I have been reading for like 3 hours. I've never done that before. So,
But
yeah.
you understand what I'm trying to say. I mean, every once in a while, something will come along that will either change something or open it up. The Matrix did that. The Matrix movies did
Yeah.
that for a population of mind. But 50 Shades really blew the lid off of a whole new way of possibilities for people that basically thought they weren't feeling anything anymore.
Mm,
And you're
mhm.
right. You know, there's only one other book series that I've been able to pick up and read and not put down, and that's anything by Anne Rice. But this is really what we're talking about. I think people are going to define that and learn more about it in the work you do, right? They're going to be able to play with that, so to speak.
Right. It's endlessly creative, the things that you can do in this blueprint space. So if you find that that's your blueprint, that's one of the things I'm a certified erotic blueprint coach. I maybe should have said that in the beginning, but this is one of the things that we can really dive into specifically is all the ways that you can bring more of this nourishment and play back into your life, whether you're single or partnered. So I'll just finish the kinky blueprint by saying that there's so much communication that goes into this. So whereas some of the other blueprints, people aren't as evolved with speaking, I would say speaking the blueprints. Uh, the Kingsters have really gotten really well at setting boundaries, clearly defining consent, what's a yes, what's a no, where the edges are. And I love that because one of the things that was really uh, uh, meaningful to me was the understanding that you can't play to the edges if you don't know where they are. And so a lot of this work has to do with tapping in with what's a yes or a no or a maybe
Yeah.
for you, and then being able to have conversations and open the dialogue to inviting different kinds of play and on a day by day basis saying, this is what I want to try. Are you up for it? If not, where can we kind of meet in the middle? I see where you're trying to come from this. How about if we do this instead? So the communication is key, and that's a bit about what we're going to be doing a little bit of in the workshop and the
Excellent.
event. Okay, the final one is shapeshifter. So the shapeshifter, if you found that you enjoy all of those four things that I just named, you're a shapeshifter. Shapeshifters love it all. They love the variety. They just want more and more and more of it. They're relatively insatiable. They're insatiable. They can speak all the languages fluently. So as you might imagine, their superpower is that they are great lovers because they can adapt to any partner or situation. They can turn on a dime. They just can intuit how to take care of somebody. The flip side of that is that they are generally starving themselves because unless they have a shapeshifter partner, they are getting underfed. They've probably at some point been accused of being too much and they've shut down a little bit. So this work is fantastic for shapeshifters to recognize and own who they are and what they need and uh, how to take care of themselves, right?
And then you put it all together. What the reason this is called a blueprint is when you put it all together, there is this journey that you go on, right? Where you're exploring all aspects of oneself, but also more importantly, aspects of what you truly desire.
Hmm. Yeah, and so all of us are a combination of all of these things. I feel like we are all shapeshifters. We just haven't grown into it all yet. So there's an erotic blueprint quiz that we can share the link to where you can just answer a few questions, maybe 5 minutes, and you can find out what your unique percentages are of each one of these five because you're not just one, you're a combination of all of them. And then the report will tell you what that really means in terms of your superpowers and shadows and what you're probably experiencing with partners.
Mm.
So I highly recommend that quiz. There's a free one, but I highly recommend the $17 report that's actually going to give you the meat of what you're looking for.
Yes,
So
and let me ask you a question. Again, can people contact you to find out more?
absolutely. I have a alignedenergyhealing.com/erotic blueprint will land you at my coaching page and you can take the quiz from there. You can find out what's more involved in how we can work together. I invite you to be curious because that is the key to the intimacy that you're going to build with yourself is just invite and notice and be curious. I mean, this journey is it's amazing. It really takes you to yourself, to know your true self and how you're wired and who doesn't love a good personality.
Yeah, but
So,
I think there's something else I want to just touch upon in closing too, is that you have created a safe space for this to happen,
yes.
right? And I think that's part of the problem that we run into. It's like if I had to do it alone, right? If I had to explore this alone, that's one thing. But to be able to work with someone that just acknowledges what this journey is like is extremely important and honoring. And I
Mhm.
think that's what makes this really different. Yes, you could take a quiz and you can do other things, but if you truly want to understand yourself, this is where they go.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has been a journey for me over the last 6 years, I would say, since I was introduced to this work, and at the same time being introduced to energy healing and energetics. And
Hmm.
I've realized the intersection uh, of the work and all of the energies and all the power that really comes from that. Because I find that I find that the way that you're showing up in the bedroom is the way that you're showing up in the world. And so, what I'm so passionate about is helping people know themselves, ask for what they want, communicate about it, and use their voice, whether it's sounds or feedback or invitations,
Yeah.
um, the way that they're shifting in their sexuality and their sensuality, it's showing up in the way that they're showing up at work, in the boardroom, just at parties. These are the people that when they walk in, the heads turn because you just feel the energy that's
Yeah.
coming from them and the empowerment that they have and the knowledge of who they are. Their Shakti energy, their
Yeah.
divine feminine energy. It's just it can't help but radiate and
Yeah.
um yeah, and I love
Well,
that.
I think it's incredible. Now, let's just reflect a minute on, the call to action, where we are today, where we're going, and again, remind people of how they're going to be able to find out more about your events. And then I'd like to know your personal message.
Thing in the world. So, coming up next week on the 18th, I have a Determining Your Erotic Blueprint workshop in Gig Harbor. That's an intimate setting where we can just talk about, review some of the things that we just talked about, but also recognize that the quiz is just where it starts. That's what your mind thinks you are. We need to get into the body and just be playful and start figuring out what different types of blueprint touches are and how you're responding to them. And then I can give you some tools to take home and continue the journey. The second thing is my big event called Awaken the Flame. This is something that's happening at the Little Red Day Spa on September 27th. If you haven't already been to the venue, it is amazing. It's a theater with a painter's studio, and it's owned by an artist who has done a lot of this erotic art along the walls, and it's very sexy place to be.
Hmm.
And that's going to be just a top-notch immersive event where people can either buy general availability or VIP tickets. The VIPs will get to come in early for a private show and have some more intimate time with
Mm.
me and my team and have a goodie bag and just have some cool extras. And then, so we're going to be doing some more of the body mapping stations. We're going to be doing some moving to the blueprints. I have a DJ Metaphysical is going to be working with us. So it's going to be an incredible event and venue, food and bev, all the things. The third
Nice.
thing is I just want to put in another mention for midlife medicine for every single woman that is going to be going through this change. A lot of your GPs are not going to be offering this kind of information to you. Everybody I know, these conversations are happening every day where people are like, I just, I need something, but I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to
Yeah.
look. My doctor's not really helping. Blood work, blah, blah, blah. Come to this thing. It's only $39. It's from 8 to 5 at Seattle Pacific University. And you are going to have access to speakers and exhibitors that are offering every single thing you can think of to help you take control back and feel like yourself again. Yeah.
Thank you for today. Last
Okay.
thing, personal message. What do you want to leave us with?
My personal message is that your pleasure is the key to your power. So just by recognizing that pleasure is your birthright, that whatever kind of conditioning you've grown up with or whatever society is telling you, I'm here to tell you, we as humans in this body are here to connect with our pleasure in whatever form or fashion that means to you, to feel alive and feel passionate. And in that process, you will know more about who you are, what you're here for, what you came here to do, and that's going to shift everything in your life.
I love it. What's your website?
AlignedEnergyHealing.com.
I love it. Thank you, Manon. Thank you so much. Thank you all out there. Again, remember, this is available. Please pass it on for many of you that live here or don't live in the Western Washington area. I know people fly into town for things like this. This show is an invitation, and that invitation is part of a birthright. because you have to ask yourself a question. Why isn't it a birthright if this is something that I've been given as a gift to experience? What Manon's going to do is help you fully express it. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Aligned Energy, where ancient wisdom meets modern health and wellness. This is Manon.
And I'm Dr. Pat.
Join us for more inspiration to step into your power and reconnect with your inner wisdom. Be sure to tune in every second Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. I invite you to like and subscribe to Aligned Energy with Manon on your favorite platform. And if you're ready to go deeper, visit alignedenergyhealing.com to book a healing or coaching session or schedule a complimentary discovery call. Until next time, stay aligned, stay empowered, and embrace the energy that is uniquely yours. See you next time.